Hi, everyone. I'm Ciera Payton, and you are watching Black America Web Online right now. Stay tuned.
So, hi, Sierra. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. I'm excited to be here. It's a great day. I'm loving promoting this movie. So, yeah, thanks for having me.
Of course. So, first of all, I got to ask you, how's your 2021 going? I know 2020 was crazy for everybody. So, how's your year starting so far?
It's been pretty good so far. 2020 in so many different ways, was very challenging, but also just filled with a lot of just surprising blessings. And so I'm just so happy to be able to take all of that into 2021. And yeah, so far, so good. I have no complaints here. So,
Right.
yeah.
Well, that's good then. So, first off, I just want to tell you, I watched the movie and it was amazing. Like, I
Yay.
didn't expect it to be so good. Like I knew it was gonna be a good movie because it's Wendy Williams, of course, but
Uh,
it was like so great. So I just want to know, tell me about when you first found out you got the role for this and how did you prepare for it?
well, okay. Because it's such a long story, and I've been working my hardest to make it shorter.
Mhm.
But no, I look, the short or condensed version of it is, a lot of Wendy watchers or fan base, they kind of planted that bug in the air and out into the universe. I was getting tweets from a few of her watchers saying, you should play Wendy Williams, and I was like, oh, that would be really awesome. Like I'd love that. And so, I kept hearing that more and more, especially as The Oval came out and people were watching that. A lot of people just kept saying you should play, Wendy Williams. And I was like, okay, let me lean into that. So I started brushing up on my Wendy, watching, her show, every interview I can find, and just literally, I even started crafting my own monologue to put together if that day ever came to
Oh,
audition for her.
really?
And so, lo and behold, Leah Daniels Butler, who's the casting director of this film, and someone that I had been auditioning for 10 years, and, never been able to, do a booking with her. But she always called me in, always believed in me. And so she just so happened to be the casting director on this project and, called me in to audition for her January 2020. And, and it just when I walked in the room, it just everything clicked. It just felt like the perfect fit, and I had a blast, doing the audition and then doing the callback and then working with the director in the producer session, and then finding out I booked it. But with all of the crazy stuff going on in the beginning of 2020. I wasn't able to do the movie at first because it conflicted with season 2 of The Oval. And then, COVID had happened, so both productions ended up shutting down, and there's a little glimmer of hope that came
Mhm.
about in the summer around, I'd say July of 2020. And there's some talk of going back to the Oval season 2, and also possibly trying to get on board for the Wendy movie again. And it just all it worked itself out, and everybody, just kind of put their heads together to try to, make all the scheduling work. And, thank goodness Tyler Perry shoots the way he shoots. He shot fast, and we were under such, crazy circumstances with the COVID protocols and being in the bubble. But yeah, I mean, we shot so quickly, and then about a week or 2 weeks later, I was on a plane to Vancouver to work on the movie. And so it was all a whirlwind. And I mean, I'm still in the whirlwind of it all right now. So I mean, I literally went from like having two jobs to no jobs to then two jobs back to back, and then here we are. So
Well, congratulations, because I don't think
yeah, thank
anybody
you.
could have played a better Wendy. Like you did such a great job.
Oh, thank you. I mean,
Yeah.
it was a lot of fun, so.
Mhm. And I know on your Instagram you say like bring characters to life. Like I saw that was in your Instagram bio. So what would you say that you had to do to prepare to bring like such a big character to life? Because Wendy has such a big personality. So what did you do to, prepare for that?
I for me, and just even by nature, like who I am, I'm very introverted. I'm more of a mental person rather than I don't know, like verbal or kinesthetic or anything. And so I feel like Wendy is all of that. And so I had to really, really, really step outside of myself to do that, to really capture her. And at first, for me, it was very challenging because I could be very reserved at times. And what I loved about playing Wendy and what I learned from her as well was, to give myself permission to be seen, give myself permission to stand up and stand out and speak up and shine. And so that was a big part of the process. I mean, obviously, I had to study her as best as I can. I mean, and like I said, the process started months before I even knew that I had the audition. And I just really we had just recently finished some press, and that was one of the things that Wendy had said, is that she saw that I wanted it, and I did, and I was just like, I'm gonna, do my best to rock this out, and it was amazing. But it's also a very intimidating process too, because so many people know her, so many people, I watched her when she first started her show, and I had to brush up on her as well. But there are literally diehard fans that tune in every single day, at 9 and 10 a.m. and they know everything that she said, how she says it, from the lip pop to the, everything. And so I was like, oh my, I know, right? Everything. So I was just like, oh my goodness, people going to either love me or hate me. But hey, at the end of the day, I really just wanted to give this character, the honor and the justice due. I wanted to just be as honest and authentic as possible, and also just really, let who I am just come through. I mean, Wendy has a lot of, she shares with us a lot of her pain, a lot of her challenges, in the making of, in this movie.
Right.
And, I could relate to a lot of this stuff. And, or if I couldn't relate to it, I had to tap into, just those parts of me that have, experienced, immense grief, or, immense trauma, or also like, immense joy. So I brought all of that stuff out of me, and it was a lot of that stuff is very sacred to me, and so it was very scary to bring that out, but it was also so healing and so exhilarating for me to do that, as an artist and as a person, and have Wendy Williams as a vehicle to do that with. So
Right, because
yeah.
the movie definitely touched on a lot of, like you said, trauma, like, body image and sexual abuse and the relationships and things like that. What surprised you the most? That's something that you learned about Wendy that surprised you the most.
I mean, she is such an open book. I mean, in my mind.
Right.
And so, I mean, I wouldn't say there was anything that was like surprising. I mean, yeah, a lot of the circumstances, I didn't know, a lot of the things that were put in the movie. And when I read the script, I was like, gosh, I didn't know she went through that. But, you know, what was so surprising to me is that, a woman like that has gone through, all of the challenges that she's gone through, she has just beautifully been able to just get back up each and every time, and then show up and show out the way that she does, 5 days out of the week. And I just don't think, not everybody is built like that. Not everyone is able to do that. And she has, and she's done that for what, 20, 30 years now,
Right.
which is amazing. And that is no small feat at all. And so, um, not to say that I was surprised, but that was just what stood out to me the most about this story and telling it, and just, learning more about Wendy, because I just feel like we live in a world and a society that, there are things that can easily break us, and so, and I think, the true heroes out here today are the ones that, can get back up, but, you know, get back up and keep going, and doing it with a smile on their face is pretty impressive. So Yeah.
Right. How do you say this role is different from others? Because I mean, you talked about being introverted, and I know I've seen you on, Tyler Perry films, and you were in The Walking Dead as well. Like that's strange. Like, how is this role different from others?
Gosh, I mean, to me, this role just it just has so many layers and so many pieces, to it, which was just so like it's just a big bowl of goodies for me to just like, dig into and really, I mean, let's keep it real. I mean, this is my first lead in a film, like the lead. And so that is a huge difference, from anything that I ever played. I've never been number one on the call sheet and, having to be on set every single day, be the first one in and the last one out, and then go home at night and learn the new lines that were, for the new scenes that have been
Mhm.
rewritten and stuff. And so it was a great challenge to take on. And, at times I didn't know up from down. I, forgot my name and I was just like, well, this is different and interesting. But it was being in her shoes were it just made it all worth it, and so yeah, I've never had the opportunity to play a role like this in that position, ever. And so so all of those things just made it so different and delightfully just fun and just
Oh, that's so
so delicious.
good. So, what do you think you learned about yourself playing a different role like this?
um Gosh, I think for me with I've learned so much, and I'm still learning a lot. And I think one of the things that I'm definitely taking away from this experience, and it's a challenge to define right now in this moment as I'm speaking with you. But what I really took away from this experience as an artist, as an actor, that it's okay to be seen. It's okay to shine, and it's okay to like enjoy your light and share your light and be around people who want to uplift that light as well. I think, you know, it's so beautiful that this is, one of my first leads and stuff like that, because I think a lot of my career I've been wanting opportunities like this, but there's also been a part of me that's been so comfortable with being hidden, being in the background, not being seen. And and that's all childhood stuff, but with this, yeah, I learned, that it's okay to give yourself permission to shine and to lead and also to just really step into your authentic self. Like
Oh yeah.
that's yeah, I mean, I think at first I had this idea of approaching it of like trying to be something and you know someone that I'm not, and all those things. But when I really started to be like, oh yeah, like I've had heartbreak and I've been in love, and I've experienced some traumatic things that it's taken a long time to have find closure on. Um, and it's okay to share that and let people know that, and to also just lean into it and step into it
Right.
and enjoy this whole acting process. Like, yeah, that's what I'm taking from it. Like having the permission to do all of that in its totality is all the makings to being your authentic self. So yeah.
That's so good. So, what can we expect from you this year?
Whew. This year, right now, I'm just excited for the movie to come
Right.
out and see, what people think of it, and I want people to be thoroughly entertained by it and touched by it. The Oval season 2 has just been announced that it's coming back
Mhm.
on BT in February. So people are going to be in for a wild ride on that and what happens with my character Lily Winthrop. And then later this year, we don't have the dates yet, but I have a movie coming out with Blumhouse and Amazon, and it's a horror thriller movie. So yeah, so it's a lot of good stuff coming out.
Oh, I'm so happy for you, and I cannot wait for everybody to see this movie because Wendy Williams, the movie was amazing. So Thank you for
Awesome.
joining me today, and I can't wait to see more from you in 2021.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.